Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. Well, that didn't help much, did it? I am back with another pastel, chalk pastel demo. I figured we'll just make a month of it to try the different types that are out there because I'm enjoying them so much, and I'm really enjoying them in these books by Alexandra Franzese, which is why I've been using them in there. And with the Amazon paper, generally I find if I can make it work on Amazon paper, then it works really well on other types of paper. So at least with most mediums. But anyway, so that is why you've been seeing a lot of chalk pastels and a lot of coloring from her books. Plus, her cute and blank series works well for Alphabet Color 2022C, which is my color along this month. So everything kind of works out. So this week we are going to look at the Pebbles Classic Chalks. These are chalk pastels, I'm assuming. And I see Anne at, I think, is it Anne's Colorful Life now? I think so. I see her use these quite a bit. I see other people use them as well. I just picked up the classic, the basic bright colors because I figured this would be a good one to try out. Now, I mentioned in last week's demo, I will put a link, index card, not index card, but card thing here at the top here, if you want to go take a look at that, where I do talk about some of the information I found out regarding chalk pastels and being aware of potential risks in how the pastels are made, and most companies will let you know if they are AP certified or anything like that. And if they're AP certified, then that means there's no worries about what they're using in their chalk pastels. And the reason chalk pastels in particular get a lot of focus is because they create dust, and you can inhale the dust and get the dust on your hands and everything. And it's not a huge risk, especially if you don't use pastels very much, or you're very, you don't use them in an environment where they're up mingling in the air a lot. But it is something to be aware of, and I think important for everybody to make a decision what is safest for them. So I did mention that as far as I know, the Pebbles chalk line is not AP certified, which does mean that it's possible there are some ingredients that they use in their chalks that could potentially cause health issues if, probably huge amounts over long term, but there's always that low kind of risk. I did not see the warning on them. Usually if that's the case, there's a warning on them because the state of California is really, really, they've passed laws that people have to label their products if that's the case. And I didn't see it on this one when I opened it, but I didn't see the AP certified label either, and I can't find it on the Amazon site. So if anybody knows, let me know in the comments. I did say last week that I will probably stick mostly to AP certified products, not worried about myself necessarily, just worried about the cats, because I've really enjoyed using pastels, and I will be using them a lot more. Particularly pastel pencils, I think, is where I feel like I need to worry the most, because that's where it seems like I create those, and the little blocks are where I get the most dust. But these are in a palette form like the Jane Davenport ones, which are also not AP certified, by the way. And because they're in this palette form, and because, and my guess is with these, like with the Jane Davenport, there's going to be very minimal crumbs and dust kicked up from this. So I feel like if they're in this palette form, it's just about the lowest risk you could probably get in using pastels. So I'm not going to worry, I'm not going to stress about it if they're in this palette. It's just if they're in a block or pencil form, that's where I probably will only get the AP products. And like I said, it's just not necessarily worried about myself. I just don't want the cats to inhale any of that. So anyway, this is the basic color shade set. I do like that you get a lot more color choices with this than you do. The Jane Davenport Chilled palette is you don't get quite as many, and this is a little more expensive than the Chilled palette, the Jane Davenport palettes, but I suspect some of that is because of this neat little tool, because you get this and these little cotton balls to use for shading, and I am curious to try those out because I haven't tried those out before. And so you get a lot more shades. You basically get like a lighter and a darker shade. So we're going to color out of Cute and Magical this week. And I'm going to do the very first page, which I know, very unusual for me. But it is not the... I don't know. I don't like doing the cover image first thing. I think I like secretly, subconsciously rebel for some reason with that. So this is the page we're going to work on. What I did was I looked at my palette over here. I basically pulled all the light colors. I'm going to go over with a marker as I have been. This is basically going to be similar to my other videos, except we're just using a different brand of pastels and some slightly different colors, because this one gives me a lot more color options. So I pulled mostly from the Ohuhu pastel markers, but I also have an Arteza and then my beloved Prisma Spanish Orange are in here. So really need to do, okay, there you go. This will be super helpful in the future when I go do these pictures. I can go back to these videos and be like, what markers did I use? Because of course I'm not writing them down. I tell you, if I had to build my own marker set, the Prismacolor Spanish Orange would be my favorite, is like my favorite light orange across the board right now. I'm sure Copic has one that's similar. I just don't have it yet. But I have the big chisel tip, fine tip Prismacolor markers, and I like them okay. I just would prefer the brush tips. They're so expensive though. At this point, I'm just going to use what I have. But I'm telling y'all, I will probably always keep the Spanish Orange ones because I can just use them in so many different things. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do the marker part of this off camera. No sense in watching that. We're all here for the pastel stuff. I'm just putting a flat layer of marker over the image. And then we will be back and we will get started on the pastels. So here we go. All right, here is the marker colored picture. Very cute in of itself, but we are going to add some chalk pastel to it. Now, typically, a couple things. I typically use one of these little gloves. I actually should start linking these on Amazon. They came in a pack of 3. I can't use them too long because for some reason they make my hands numb. So there might be some better gloves out there, but when I'm using chalk pastels and really soft, excuse me, soft colored pencils, this helps keep the smearing down on the paper because I don't tend to work from left to right. I work all over the place. Also, after doing the research on the chalk pastels, I picked up a pack of these, which is basically like a cutting mat. Probably should use this side. I don't think it matters. What I'm going to do anytime I use pastels from here on out is put the picture on this mat. I also got a really big brush, and basically I'm going to softly dust the pastel off the picture onto this mat, and then depending on how much work I'm doing with the pastels, every now and then I'm going to take a damp washcloth and just run it through here. This will limit how much it's up in the air, and I'm going to do that regardless of whether it's AP certified or not, just because probably inhaling pastels isn't good for your lungs. Like, I already have enough problems. I don't need any more just from, you know, the more I can minimize particulates in the air, and we have allergy issues as it is, the better off I am. So that is the setup I'm going to go with. I just wanted to show you guys in case you like working with pastels too, and I think this will work pretty well. I also have found over time that I typically like using Q-tips and these little eyeshadow looking brushes, but they're the softed brushes. Specific, I think, for art. Like they use a special kind of rubber on the tips. I love using these types for detail work, and with the pastel pencils, I love using Q-tips. I also like using these big makeup brushes for the background. Now, what I want to do first, though, is I want to try the tool that comes with the Pebbles chalk, and we're going to see how that goes. What I suspect around the outside is I'm probably going to wind up using my big makeup brush, just because it's a large area. But for the detail work, I'm hoping these little cotton balls will work out really well for me. Hi, Reepicheep. Turn that away, put my coffee nearby. Alright. So, we'll try the background first. So let me grab, it looks like they're different size cotton balls. So, and this is upside down, but that's so I don't, yeah, that is one thing. I wish this would come off so you don't have this big hinged door to worry about. They have a small, medium, and large type of cotton ball. I am going to grab the big cotton ball. So basically, it's just a little clamp, and then you run it in the pastel, and then you put it on the paper. I'm trying to decide. Do I want to go... Yeah, well, let's go with the slightly darker shades. So, I'm all rub it down pretty good just because I'm wanting to cover a large area. Now you see it does kick up a little bit of dust, so I do want to be aware of that. And so basically, I'm just going to work along the edges where I put the marker down, which I really like this effect. I started doing this last week with the picture we had there where I did it in the blue, and I really liked the marker on the outside, and then it kind of fades out into the pastel. It's not too bad. See how far out I can go. There's not really too much on it still, so. What I'll probably do is go ahead and do the whole background like I did with the one last week, because there's just not a lot of area. Let's see. Yep. Actually, I probably should have just went around the edges first, but that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I feel like this is going to take a significant amount of time, so I like the big cotton ball. And I think on this area here, I'll probably use the big cotton ball, but okay, Lego. Here we go. Alright. So what I'm going to do is try the makeup brush instead. Trying to be kind of gentle about it, just like I said, I don't want to stir up a lot of pastel. Well, that didn't seem to work as well as I thought it would. We might be going back to the cotton ball. I was hoping it would pick up more color than that, and it doesn't seem like it's doing so. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's any faster. Okay, fair enough. Back to the cotton ball then. So it seems like you get a fair amount of color, but these do seem to be harder than like the Jane Davenport ones, so you're probably going to have to work at it a little bit to probably going to have to go back to the palette more to more often. These do seem to be a little bit harder in the palette than like the Jane Davenports. Oop, missed a spot with a marker. Yeah. I think with the design of these pastels, this cotton ball, these little cotton ball things are probably going to be the most efficient way to put this down. Now the Jane Davenports, I can pick those up, and I can pick those up heavy, I can pick them up light. But these you do seem like you have to, if you want a little more than just super subtle color. That is. So. I also feel like these don't move around as much, just pretty much where you set them down is where they're going to stay. A dustier, a softer pastel palette is a little more, you get a little more, I guess, where you can push the color around a little bit, and I don't feel like you can, I'm getting that as much with this. But I'm also coming in with some really bold, I do like the fact that it is covering the paper and it's staying in place very well, because I like other people's pictures where they'll use pastels in a background and they might look, you know, kind of not patchy. Patchy means like, patchy doesn't sound like a very good term, but they look kind of faded in different spots and stuff, and it's not a solid block of color. And while I love seeing people's pictures with that, I don't like it in my pictures. I don't know what it is. It's something I haven't gotten comfortable with. I prefer having a more solid color look. And I will say, putting these down on the paper where they're staying in place, it's giving me the look that I want. So that's good. I'm seeing a few little crumbs come up on the paper here and there, but nothing Nothing crazy. Nothing like if you have the Munyo pastels that are like the block pastels that you would like scrape with a little knife or craft knife or something. Those seem to generate the most dust. And then I feel like pastel pencils actually, the ones I used, created quite a bit of dust. These ones that are in the palettes like this aren't as bad. Which is, like I said, one of the reasons I'm not stressing too much about the Pebbles chalk, because I feel like that plus the steps that I have in place will limit how much dust is in the air. Okay, so very nice looking little background there. I would have liked to have it come up a little faster, but that's fine. One thing, where is my marker? A couple little spots I missed. The yellow marker. There we go. All right, now let's get to here. So basically I'm just coming through very gently, mostly just trying to pull it off the edge of the paper, not trying to kick it around in the air much. And I hardly see anything on the paper, so that's good. There's some on the brush though, so that's good too. Let the brush kind of capture some of it. Alright, so let's start with the flowers. So I'm going to start with the medium cotton ball thing. They're not cotton balls, I don't know what they're called, but so basically I use this lighter shade in the marker, and then I'm going to use this darker shade to come in. You can see a little bit of dust kicking up while I'm doing this, but not too much, just a little bit on the palette itself. So I like hitting the areas that she already has shaded, but I also kind of like going around the edges. I feel like that gives a really neat effect. I like doing that with markers as well though. I usually go around the edges, kind of like I did the background here with a darker outline. I probably would have had just a little more control with the smaller cotton ball. I just wasn't sure what direction I wanted to go. So I'll keep that in mind for basically if it's a bigger area than these petals, I probably want to use this size. If it's this size or smaller, I probably want to use the smaller cotton ball. So. Here. I didn't even think about that. How much it would probably help to zoom in. Alright, let me grab the smaller little thing. My lighting got all askew apparently here for a minute. So I really have to push on the palette to get a good strong color, and I have to do it every couple petals. So again, this isn't quite as soft as the Jane Davenport ones. I felt like I could get a little bit bolder color a lot quicker on those. So if you're looking for a more subtle type of pastel shading, these would be probably the better choice. Plus you get more, I think it was like $10 more than the Jane Davenport palette. You get a lot more colors. Plus you get this neat little tool and the little cotton things for each color, set of colors. So pretty nice. Like I said, just a little bit subtle, but that's okay. It does gray out the line art quite a bit, which I believe the Jane Davenports did as well, where it kind of dulls the line art. I found with the pastel pencils, I guess because they're a little more of a precision tool, I didn't have as much problem with that. So yeah, basically I'm just coming back and forth to the palette for each petal at this point. I feel like I always start out too light and then I get used to them and I get really good color at the end, and then I have to go back and redo parts of the picture. Which again is a really nice part about pastels, is that they're very easy to add on to and they're very easy to take away. But I also like efficiency, so. The less I have to go back, the better. So, alright, well those are the petals of the flowers. Let me get the center of the flowers. I think, what did it was this one. I do like that these seem to give, to me, a little more, this tool gives me a little more precision, I feel like, than just about everything but the Q-tips, but it allows me to put more color on here than a Q-tip usually does. Alright, grass. So we'll do a few strands of grass. I might work on the toadstool, mushroom people, and then I'll probably speed it up after that so you guys can see me finish it out. So I'm going to take this dark kind of yellow-green color. Now this is where things will get interesting because I feel like this tool may even the smallest cotton ball may be too big for these leaves. And you can't see what I'm doing, which would be helpful, wouldn't it? So I might have to get my Q-tips out for this. Let's see. Yeah, on the bigger blades it seems fine. It's on the small ones I have to be a little cautious. I will say I think these do dust up a little more than the Jane Davenports, but I think they're drier chalks, which is probably why. Yeah, one thing I was thinking about in terms of the brush, I am just very gently. I have a better idea than that brush, I think. Probably not. Because I was thinking up here with this flower, and it's exactly what happened, is if I use a brush, it's going to take the pastel and smear it. I know. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. So, I don't know if the brush will work with pastels quite like I wanted it to, but I still have this matte. I can still, at the end, kind of tap it onto the mat, and if any major pieces are on it, or major chunks are on it, then I'll have the mat to clean it up. Alright, so there's some of the grass. Let me get one of our little mushroom guys. I found you don't want to grip it all the way, you just kind of want to grab the edge of it with the teeth. I might see if I can find a little bitty HEPA filter that I could run while I'm using these. That would also probably help. Come on. There you go. Alright, and this one. Sorry, I'm trying to sit here and figure out which color went to which. Now see this one, you can really see the color I'm putting down. I wonder if I ran the ball that's not used over it, if it would lighten up. Actually, I mostly just need it to lighten up on the edges here. I didn't get good enough grip on that thing. I'm making a bit of a mess over here. Feels like. Yeah, that feels a little harsh. Too harsh of a line for me. So I'm coming back in with the big one and softening them up a little bit. And I think that's working out pretty good. That is getting me a little more what I want. How does that have yellow on it? There is no telling. Interesting. Okay. You gotta be careful with all these little cotton things. They like will go everywhere. Alright, purple. Now basically I am just using the darkest, like we have two shades, you know, light and dark. I'm basically just using the darkest because my assumption is the lightest shades were what I tried to match up my markers with. So. So I just took the little one and turned it to the other side to further shade that. And that actually worked out pretty good. So, alright, we've got his top part shaded. I'm spending more time fighting with these little cotton ball things than I'm doing anything else right now. I think I've starting to figure out my sweet spot with these. Laying down's pretty heavy color. And then turning the ball and going back over it just to soften it a little. It seems to be working really well for me here. Now this orange is going to be interesting. We're going to grab the medium sized one for this one. I feel like I'm doing some kind of weird chemistry experiment 'cause I've got this weird glove on and have this like weird tool in my hand. I feel like I need little, like I'm some type of mad scientist here. Now with the larger cotton ball, I am getting a little bit outside the lines here, so like I said, it's as with anything, any tool, you lose precision if you're trying to cover more area. So I was trying to cover more area, so thus I'm accidentally getting more of it on things that are not the mushroom. All right. I'm not particularly a fan of having to touch this pastel so much with my hands. To like adjust the little cotton, I'm just going to call them dabbling cotton balls. I don't know what else to call them. To have to like physically touch and move the cotton balls to the side that doesn't have pastel on it. I would probably, I don't know, in the future I would probably be more apt to want to use tweezers or gloves. Sorry guys, hang on. Let me pause this for a second. Okay, that was irritating. It's like the one thing I'm sitting here saying I don't want the cats to get into. And Sid decides she's going to get up here and step all over the palette, step all over the picture, and knock everything askew. So, I feel like that is pretty nice looking. Well, excuse me. Now, of course, I am getting a look like this was somehow my fault. Yes, somehow my fault. Alright, let me back up here so you can see what I have done so far. Now that my camera's also been thrown off kilter. So that's what I've got so far. I'm going to speed up the rest of this super fast. It shouldn't take very long actually, and I might come in with a little eraser to see, damn blame it, come in with a eraser to see if I can clean it up a little bit. I'd rather not have to go back over the line art today, just not really in the mood for it. And yeah, then we will look at the final picture and I'll give you guys my final thoughts on the Pebbles chalks. So here we go. All right, so here is the finished picture. As always, I think the shading with the pastel over the marker just ends up with a really cute picture. These are fairly quick to do compared to some of the other pictures I do. And like the other pastel pictures, I think this one turned out really nice. I had some issues, as y'all saw, where Sid decided to launch herself into the middle of the picture and step all over the pastels. That didn't help much. I fought a lot with these little cotton things. I don't know, like trying to put them on and off the tool without trying to touch it too much. They were going all over the place. That it's a nice tool, but it's not my favorite thing to do. I would say out of all the pastels so far, these are probably, I like using these, but these are probably my least favorite, just in that they are a lot drier. It seemed like I had to, between that tool and the dryness of the pastels, I had to work a little harder to get what I wanted out of them. And I love my little mushroom guys. Everything else looks a little more, I guess, faded than I normally would. I would like more of a pink and like a little bit more pop of color, but it's fine. Um, I would say these are great if you want a good color variety in one pack in terms of chalk pastels. Especially if you're mostly just using backgrounds and stuff, this gives you a lot of nice variety. The little cotton ball tool is a good precision tool. It's a lot easier than using, say, a Q-tip in certain areas, so I like that. However, until you get used to it, it can be a little tedious to manage. This is not AP certified, so if you're just using them casually, I wouldn't worry too much about that. But like with me, I don't know if I want to use these all that often. Again, just trying to limit how much I use them. I feel like because they're drier, there's a lot more dust that generates than like the Jane Davenports. But overall, like I said, just a really cute picture, and I do like them. I'll have to think about whether I want to keep these. I will probably hold on to these for a while. I have a feeling, as much as I love the pastel pencils, I probably won't use these types very often except for things like backgrounds. Because the pastel pencils are just a whole lot more precise when it comes to pictures. But I don't know. These are very simple to do and easy, and having just a small little set like this might come in handy. So I'm going to hold on to them for a while. I do think they're great to use. Just out of comparison from some of the other stuff, they're not my absolute favorite thing to use. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. My last pastel demo, at least for right now, will be next Tuesday. I will be using the pan pastels in the Country Chibis book, and that will round that out for the month. If you guys would like me to do a video that kind of summarizes all these pastels, let me know. I was kind of kicking around the idea of taking all 4 types of pastels and just doing a summary overall of what I've learned with them, show the pictures, and just do a quick video like that. If you think that's something you might be interested in, let me know. We will see. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good start to the week, and I'll be back Friday with my coloring book and supply haul for the month. Thanks, and bye for now.